If we did a player draft for the Tennessee football team, who would be the number one overall pick between one or two players? We're going to do just that coming up here today on a Friday, Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, good Friday morning, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Vols. I am Cain. Thank you so much for being here, making Locked On Vols a part of your morning routine. And big shout out to FanDuel, where you can go and make every moment more. We're at FanDuel.com for being a part of the show. You everydayers for building the show, making it what it is. We got a fun one coming up here today. We are going to do the Tennessee player draft. I do it every year before fall camp. I do it every year before the opening kickoff. And I find a guest to join me each and every year to do this, where we simply alternate picks. It's not fantasy football. We're not building a franchise, but we're just going to have fun with it. You alternate picks. And today, I'm going to bring on my buddy Boogie Bentley, who, of course, does tons of shows with me during the football season, and I with him over there on the Talkin VAWLS network. Boogie, welcome back to the show, man, and it's just about football time in Tennessee.
It is, man. We got to celebrate that baseball national championship, and I feel like after that final out, after they hoisted the trophy, it was full steam ahead for football season. We're less than a week away from fall camp. Everybody's fired up, man. It feels like, I kept saying it in 2022, buckle up, get ready for the ride. That's what 2024 feels like. I feel like we got a fun one up in front of us.
Yep, you got a media day coming up on Tuesday, first day of fall camp officially for practice on Wednesday, and then, of course, a month from Wednesday, the start of the season with UT Chattanooga, so looking forward to that. But again, an exercise I like to do every single year. Me and Tyler Robbins used to do it on the radio. Just call it the Tennessee player draft, where we flip the coin backstage. You got the number one overall pick, so you'll get pick number one. I'll get pick number 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. We're going to do 20 overall selections, so 10 for each side. And here in segment number 1, we're going to do picks 1 through 6, so the first 3 picks for each of us. So with that being said, Boogie Bentley, with the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 Tennessee player draft, you select who?
Well, you said you already penciled my pick in. You didn't even let me pick. Everybody knows you're going one of two directions, right? You're going offense or you're going defense. You're going Nico or you're going James Pearce. So I'm going to call out the chat. I'm going to call out the comment section. I want you guys to jump down there. You everydayers, some of you just listening, you don't have your phone handy, you got to jump in that comment section. Who would you pick? Would you go Nico or would you go James Pearce? Cain got mine right. You got to have a quarterback. You got to have a quarterback, guys, to get after the quarterback and guys to protect the quarterback. We know that. We talk that. But you got to have a quarterback. It's a quarterback-driven game. Nico Iamaleava is your first pick in the Locked On Talkin VAWLS 2024 mock fantasy draft. That's what I'm calling it.
Can't go wrong there. And again, yeah, we went backstage, flipped that coin. You got the first overall pick. And literally, I'm filling out a graphic as we go here so I can put it up at the end of the show and we can discuss whose team is better. And I said, all right, you get the first pick, you're going to go Nico. That means I'm going to go James Pearce. So my second overall pick is going to be James Pearce. Can't go wrong either side. I mean, both these guys are dynamic playmakers. You're right. You can't go wrong with the quarterback. You got to have a quarterback to make this thing go. If Nico is who we believe he's going to be, watch out. James Pearce, proof's in the pudding. We've already seen what he can be. If the NFL draft for 2025 was today, we know that he'd be a top 10 pick. He's still got to go out there and play a junior football season. I understand that, but a really, really good player. One of the most impactful defensive players in college football. One of the best players in the SEC. I think he was the 4th highest overall rating in the new college football 25 game. So James Pearce is that dude for sure. So I think we're off and running here. I think we got some 2 pretty good picks here to begin our draft. With that being said, the number 3 overall pick, second selection for Team Boogie. What you got?
This is where you give me severe anxiety. You texted me last night playing EA Sports College Football 25, having a good time, sipping a little bourbon, hanging out with the chat over in the Talkin VAWLS network. My phone goes off. You say, oh, wait, you're playing video games. You got more important things to do, but here's what we're going to do tomorrow. And so immediately you're like, it's laid back. It's fun. It's not necessarily fantasy. In my mind, it's, am I building a team for today? Am I building a team for the future? Is this an NFL team? Is this a college team? What are we building here? So the anxiety kicks in. I said you got to have a quarterback. You got to have a guy to get after the quarterback. You took the best one off the roster. So I'm going to take a guy to protect the quarterback. Now, the question is it a proven guy like Cooper Mays, or is it a guy that I think has a higher ceiling like Lance Hurd. So I'm going left tackle, Lance Hurd, 5-star prospect coming out of high school. Huge ad for Glenn Ellerbe in the transfer portal. And it's funny, some people that want this narrative that Glenn Ellerbe can't recruit, they pretend that Lance Hurd isn't a huge prospect. The guy's a sophomore. He's got his entire career ahead of him. Again, 5-star prospect coming out of high school. If he had signed Lance Hurd out of high school, everybody would be singing Glenn Ellerbe's praises. So give me Lance Hurd. Maybe that's controversial. Who would you take if you were going to go offensive lineman? Would you go Hurd or would you go Cooper Mays?
You know, it's funny. Literally, it's hilarious because you and I say same wavelength. I mean, that's exactly where I was going to go. Not necessarily Lance Hurd, but I was going to go, okay, so I've got my big impactful player. Then, you know, what's another player that I think impacts the game the most on the offense side of the football that is critical for Nico's success? And that would be offensive line. That would be a Cooper Mays. That would be a Lance Hurd. So I was going to go one of those two players. You took Hurd, who I'm with you, I think's got the highest ceiling on the team. Boy, I mean, those your two picks obviously are going to play in 2024, and hopefully they're going to be incredible. But your two picks in 2025 are going to be All-Americans, right? Like, those two dudes are going to be good. So with that being said, I'll take Cooper Mays, who could be an All-American this year, who's a preseason All-American. He's going to be a 4-year starter. Outside of Nico, most important player on the offensive system for Josh Heupel. We've seen what this offense has looked like in the bits and pieces when he's not been in the lineup the last couple of years. So Cooper Mays is very, very important. I will take Cooper Mays with my number 2 overall pick. My number 2 pick, that's the number 4 overall pick. So we'll get one more pick each here in segment number 1. Boogie, you're got pick number 5, pick number 3 overall for you. Where are you going to go?
Interesting, because our first 4 picks are the top 4 off my board. So that's it. That's interesting. That's interesting. Now we're going to get controversial because I may be reaching here, but this guy is a guy that I think can be the next James Pearce. And I think we're going to see flashes of him as a true freshman. We'll see. This is a reach. This may be a little much. I'm going Jordan Ross. I think Jordan Ross can be that James Pearce-esque. And again, I laugh because we talk about what Josh Heupel wants to do and how he's building this football team, quarterback, tackles, and edge rushers. And here we sit after round 3, and I go quarterback, tackle, and maybe even reach a little for an edge rusher. But I think if we're building a long-term team here, that's my focal point. I think give me Jordan Ross.
Yeah, my focal point, obviously, I want to have sustained success. I mean, I'm going to draft some seniors here, so or some, draftable juniors here, so I'm not banking on these guys to be on my team Cain in 2025. But I'm trying to win this year as well. That is very interesting. Very interesting because here this upcoming season, I think he's going to be fourth fiddle. I do think that he can have if he comes in fall, remember he wasn't here in spring, so if he comes in fall camp and does what he needs to do and hits the ground running and all that, then I do think that he can get on the field in some pass rushing situations like Caleb Herring did last year. But you're right, here in the future, man, he's going to be, could he be the next James Pearce? That's what everybody hopes, and he's got a 5-star talent for sure. So I like Jordan Ross. Interesting pick, though, I will admit. But again, you make this kind of your own here. My third pick in this draft, number 6 overall. I've already got a guy that can impact the game on defense. I've got arguably the best offensive lineman in this game, and then let me get a guy that I know is going to impact the game on offense. A lot of question marks at wide receiver, don't get me wrong. Very much question marks at tight end, but a guy that I know is going to have a big year now in a stepping up in a role, if you will, is Dylan Sampson, the running back. He's going to be RB1. I'm intrigued to see kind of what those carries look like between Dylan Sampson, a healthy Cam Seldon. Cam Seldon, of course, to begin the season, a bit banged up. We'll see if Dylan Sampson gets even more of the workload there. But I've seen it fourth quarter of Kentucky. I've seen it against Virginia. I've seen it for the last 2 years and bits and pieces. Dylan Sampson, he's a dude, and I think that he's going to step up and do a really, really good job here in this new role. So at the end of, we'll call this round 1, if you will. We did the first 6 overall picks. Team Boogie is quarterback Nico Iamaleava, left tackle Lance Hurd, and defensive end Jordan Ross. Team Cain is defensive end James Pearce, center Cooper Mays, and running back Dylan Sampson. Off to some good starts. These are some good football teams. We'll do picks number 7 through 16 when we return right here on Locked On Vols. Go ahead and stay tuned. We got plenty more to get into. Want to say about our friends over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience, the formula for Winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive today. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle, leveled up to peak performances, superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, and LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're going to be looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money is bad. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive today at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, welcome back in here to your Friday edition of Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys being here, making Locked On Vols your first listen, your first watch each and every single day. You got a treat here today on this Friday show. Boogie Bentley of Talkin VAWLS here joining us today, as he will probably every Friday morning during football season. We'll iron out the details later. But we are doing the 2024 Tennessee Player Draft here on Locked On Vols. We do it every single year. So for Team Boogie, it's quarterback Nico Iamaleava, left tackle Lance Hurd, defensive end Jordan Ross. Team Cain is James Pearce, Cooper Mays, and Dylan Sampson. So we'll get back into it. Number 7 overall, Boogie. What direction are you going to go?
This is another conversation. Am I going youth or am I going veteran? I think it's time to go back to some veteran leadership here. Maybe some question marks coming off the injury, but a guy that I think's proven. I think he's a guy that's going to do it at the next level. He's a guy that I thought you were about to pick. Instead of Dylan Sampson, we're going Bru McCoy at wide receiver. Big physical, man. I'm excited to see him and Keenan Peely both, right? How they respond, how they bounce back coming from injuries. Little something to prove. Money year, looking to get to the league. But I like Bru McCoy for his leadership. Nico, when he came back, when Bru announced he was coming back, Nico was fired up about that. He was excited about that. I think Cooper Mays and I think Bru McCoy kind of calm the California kid, if you even need to calm him. But I think they give him that sense of confidence. So give me Bru McCoy.
I always forget how to spell squirrel. Is it 1 L or 2 L's? It's 1 L. You went Bru McCoy, which you can't go wrong. I mean, he's going to be a captain of this football team. He's kind of one of those heart and soul players. Coming off injury, of course, we know about that, gruesome injury. But he's going to be full go to start fall camp. He told Brent Hubbs that a couple weeks ago at his golf charity outing. There'll be some maintenance days in there, but Bru is back, and that's going to be huge for this offense. And what a security blanket for a guy in Nico Iamaleava being a first-year quarterback. Another one of those security blankets is going to be Squirrel White in the slot. And I thought Squirrel White did a fantastic job last year, stepping up, had 67 receptions, I believe. He had more than double what Ramel Keaton had, who finished second on the team in receptions. Keaton had more touchdowns, but Squirrel was really, really good, and he just continues to prove that he's a really good player in this league, coming in at 160 pounds as a true freshman. He's not much more than that now, but he's tougher than nails, and he's a playmaker. He's been making some plays. So you take Bru, I'm going to take Squirrel White to give me that added playmaking ability on the outside. I know he plays in the slot here in this offense. So I think you and I both can agree that there's plenty more wide receivers to choose from, such a deep position. But we're going to number 9 overall. This is your 5th pick in the UT player draft. We're almost halfway there. Where are you going to go?
Going back youth, and I'm going with a guy that I think, we talk about Jordan Ross and what his ceiling can be, and that's why I'm going with this guy. And I think, he's going to be a starter, and I think his ceiling is extremely high. There's a reason that Nick Saban and the Alabama coaching staff was on the high school door beating, saying, let us in. And he said, nope, I'm a Vol for life. That's Arian Carter. I think we're going to really see him take a huge step going into 2024. Excited about his future.
So you took a big – I like that pick. I think Arian Carter, he's one of my picks for a breakout defensive player this year. I think that, they tried to bulk him up a little bit when he initially got on campus, and he was really, really free, and he moved really well in that first spring. And then I thought he was kind of stiff last fall, but I think he's taken a little bit of weight off, and he's got good hips. He's got good direction. He's really good out of the box. I think he's going to be a stud. He's my pick, especially after he got his feet wet a little bit last year. I think he's going to be my pick to click on defense this year. You went Jordan Ross with your 3rd overall pick, 5th overall, and that was maybe a reach, is how you would describe it. Here's my maybe a reach. I was super, super high on Dante Thornton last year. In fact, that graphic I sent you of last year with me and Brian Rice, I think He was my second overall pick.
Okay, but Joe Milton first. What are you doing? Who'd you do that with?
Brian Rice.
Okay. Yeah, he took Joe Milton first. I'm like, man, that's a reach for me. That's a reach. But maybe at that time and at that place, I would have probably maybe gone Joe Milton first.
And you always have to have a quarterback, just like you did. But like I was never, like entering last year's draft, little inside baseball right here, I was never going to pick a quarterback with my first pick, because if he picked Joe, like, okay, I'm fine with Nico. I'll get him later on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, or if he took Nico, it's like, okay, well, I'll take the starting quarterback a few picks later. Like, I was good either way. Where he could have really screwed me was if he took Nico too, and I would have been left with like Gaston Moore.
Yeah. But you knew he's not taking two quarterbacks when you got 10 picks.
Yeah, it's like, well, I'm going to take two quarterbacks just so you don't have one. Which, you know, you could do the same thing here. Dante Thornton was my second pick last year, and I still think that he's an NFL receiver. I'm not going to give a hope. But my point is, I was drinking that Kool-Aid out of the transfer portal. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid out of Bru McCoy this year. I think he's going to be a stud. It might not be overnight. I think he's an NFL talent. He's got a track background. He used to play offense, coming up, and he's very new to defense and to the quarterback position. But a freshman All-American at Oregon State, I really, really like the makeup of Bru McCoy, and I think he's going to be Tennessee's best defensive back. That's probably my reach right here at 10th overall, my fifth pick. Give me cornerback Bru McCoy, who will be a starter for Tennessee this year.
I like that pick too, and all those guys and gals that listen to the Talkin VAWLS Network, they're familiar with Coach Jay, coaches football out on the West Coast. He does a series on our channel where he breaks down film, and it is a deep dive. Sometimes he gets a little too technical, but I'm here for it. Anytime I can learn more about the game of football, I'm here for it, and he brings that to our channel. He did a film breakdown on Bru McCoy, and we said, you know what? Forget monetization, forget making money. We want to break down college film. So we took his Oregon State film, and Coach Jay broke it down. He is high on Bru McCoy. So if you go check that out on our playlist, it's worth a watch. Great pick. I agree. I think people are going to be talking about Bru McCoy in this 2024 season. It's time for another reach, Cainer. It's time for another reach. But let me tell you why.
11th overall here.
I am trying to build a team that's going to dominate your team. And this guy brings me all kinds of versatility. I can play him in the secondary. I can play him at safety, or I can play him at star. I'm going to use him in the special teams game. You're already putting his name down because you know, but guess what? We're going to have a special package on offense where Boo Carter comes in and he takes direct snaps. And we're going to call, I don't know, you guys in the comment section, come up with a name for that Boo Carter wildcat type scenario, but I'm going Boo Carter because, again, I'm looking at the ceiling, and his ceiling is extremely high. So give me Boo Carter.
I like it. I like it a lot. I do think that it's not going to be long for him to impact the game. He's going to be day one punt returner, kick returner. But I do think that it won't take long for him to impact the game. And if he's able to come on and maybe prove himself defensively, it just gives you more safety depth, where that's a question for me. You can move Jordan Thomas back and play a little safety. If Boo Carter comes in and can prove that maybe he's not going to play star every snap. And I don't know. I doubt that they're going to be, big keen on the playing star, playing safety in the same game. But if he can come in and play the start position for a stretch of time, Jordan Thomas can free up and go back there and play safety. They tried to do that with Samari McDonald some last year, but it never got around to it. Anyway, I like that pick. Boo Carter's going to be a good one. 12th overall, I'm intrigued. I can go a number of different ways here. In my mind, I'm thinking one thing, but I'm trying to make sure that I'm just not missing anything that's super obvious that you're going to scoop up with your next pick. I don't think I am. So that being said, let me go with another defender. And if this dude can stay healthy, I truly believe Tennessee's defense can reach its potential. Last year, it's one of the worst injuries on the football team because it forced a position group to play a lot of young guys that were not ready. However, they're going to be better for it this year. Give me linebacker Keenan Peely. You continue to hear such great things about him, but we got to see it week after week, and he had a pretty good game against Virginia, but Torres tricep was out for the year after coming over from BYU. He is 26 years old. He is nicknamed Uncle Grandpa by William Inge, his new position coach. I think Keenan Peely has all SEC type potential, and you continue to hear that he's not only the leader of the defense, but he's outside of James Pearce, he's probably the best defender right now. Give me linebacker Keenan Peely with 12th overall. We're both going to make two more selections here in segment number 2, so we'll go to number 13 overall. This is your 7th pick in this draft, Boogie.
Oh man, I'm struggling with this one. I can't decide what direction to go. I'm gonna go defensive line, but I need somebody on the inside. And You look at, and this is just kudos to Coach Garner and what he's done with this defensive line, because you look at the interior position, you could go Big O, you could go Bryson Eason, you could go Elijah Simmons, Omar Norman-Lott, David Hobbs. Like, I can pick any of those guys and be like, all right, I think I'm going to get the same type of production. But the guy that I like, the guy that stands out to me is Omar Norman-Lott. What he had, I think he had 5.5 sacks a year ago. I think when you look at the interior, to me, I think he brings you the most upside. So give me Omar Norman-Lott. And I like the grunt because that tells you when the comment section votes on who won this, you know that I stole one from Cain there. You know that I stole Lance Hurd from Cain there. You know he would have picked Nico, but I won the coin toss. We stole one from Cain there. So keep that in mind when you're voting for Team Boogie, in this fantasy mock prediction spoiler
but
draft.
Also remember, Team Boogie took Jordan Ross 5th overall, which I think is going to be a stud one day. I would have taken him 5th overall. Yeah, man, I'm not going to lie. He needs to stay on the field more. Durability is a big-time issue there. Big-time issue. But when you look at production and ability from the interior, like I know this isn't fantasy football, but, like, dude had 5.5 sacks from the 1-3 technique from the shade. Like dude's good. And so that's who I was going to take right there. Having said that, though, I do need a presence on the inside. And I want Amari Thomas on my team. I want to go to battle with Amari Thomas. I want Amari Thomas representing my football team. However, if you're going to take Omar Norman-Lott, I'm going to take the other guy that I think can be the most impactful in the interior. And I sound like Brent Hubbs here, but give me Bryson Eason, man. I think I think Rodney Gardner is just thrilled with where Bryson Eason is right now. And I think he's such a great story. Played a little safety in high school, come in here as a linebacker, a bigger linebacker, shifted down to end, and then slowly he's been a defensive tackle. He's transformed his body. He's got the athleticism of a linebacker, but he's now got the weight of a defensive lineman. His explosiveness, his extension, his ability, his quickness from the interior. I think he's going to be a really, really, really good piece for Tennessee's defensive line this year. Of course, it's rotation. So you took Omar Norman-Lott. I'm going to take Bryson Eason. And then that takes us here to pick number 15. This is your last pick here in segment number 2.
This pick excites me. Going all the way. You talk about reaching with Jordan Ross. When I took Bru McCoy, I almost took this guy, and it's because I think his ceiling is higher. And you took Squirrel White, and I love me some Squirrel. And, you talking about his production from a year ago. I think some people maybe slept on Squirrel White last year, didn't think he was as productive as he was because he didn't have those big Jalen Height, bust a game open, plays down the field, and I don't think that's Squirrel's fault. I think that's we do a little thing at the Talkin VAWLS Network. We throw a dart at the dartboard that's got poor Joe Milton's face on it, and we just keep throwing them. I think that was quarterback play that didn't allow those big-time plays. So shout out to you for the Squirrel White pick, but I'm going with a guy that I think could be a bright future. That's Mike Matthews.
It's a good one. Mike Matthews, all he did in spring, was show up in every single scrimmage and catch a touchdown.
As
and
a
I'm
true
intrigued because,
freshman.
Freshman. Yeah. Or should have been a senior in high school last spring. I continue to say, well, I got to see Tennessee play 5-6 receivers to believe it, right? They did last year because of injury. They did in 2022. They played 4 receivers in 2022 because, of course, the injury there to Cedric Tillman. But this year, you truly have reason. I think Dante Thornton, Chris Brazzell, Mike Matthews all should play. I think, obviously, Bru, and I think that Squirrel White should play. And then, Chaz Nimrod's played some good football for you the last 2 years. I mean, you truly are deep, so I'm intrigued to see what that looks like there. You took wide receiver Mike Matthews, and so 2 of the guys that I just had right there, Dante Thornton or Chris Brazzell. I'm going to go one of those 2 directions right there, so because I need another playmaker at wide receiver. Mike Matthews is going to be a good one. Dante
double down on him. Come on, we'll ride together on this one because I'm doubling down on Dante Thornton in 2024.
Well, that's the direction I was going to go because I'm still so high on it. But I was going to say the Dante Thornton effect from last year gives me pause about Chris Brazzell. It does. However, I'm still going to take Dante Thornton because I believe in the dude. There's a reason why the coaching staff was like salivating over there last year just watching him run routes. He's got an NFL body. He's got the size, the speed. It just didn't work in the slot. It didn't. But it worked whenever they put him outside, and that's kind of where he's going to start here in 2024. And, of course, if it wasn't Larry Johnson, if it wasn't Jesse Perry, if it wasn't, there was a couple other guys Miles Kitselman, there was a couple other guys that had really good standout springs. Dante Thornton had the best spring of anybody, in my opinion. He is playing with confidence, and that's a dangerous thing. So, 16 picks are in the books. We have 4 more picks to go to finish off this 2024 Tennessee Player Draft here on Locked On Vols with Boogie Bentley, the host of Talkin VAWLS Network. You guys are live playing video games, a new college football game every Tuesday night. What else you guys got going on right now heading into the season, Boogie?
Well, we're heading into the weekend. We got a huge commitment coming up on Saturday. 4-star safety Shady Hayward coming off the board. We'll be covering that live on the channel. Fall camp kicks off next Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Locked On Talkin VAWLS is coming back to the Talkin VAWLS Network. We'll hang out with Cain for about 30 minutes. We're going to kind of jump into season predictions, all kinds of fun stuff. Football is back, and I can't wait to jump into it. But yeah, every Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, we play EA Sports College Football 25. And you guys, all you little keyboard warriors over here have been talking trash to me. Boogie's terrible. He does this, he does that. I'm undefeated. I'm letting the chat come on and play me head to head, and I'm undefeated. They got no chance. It's not even close. It's not even close. It's not even close. So I dare you to show up on a Tuesday, and let's see what happens.
Clearly a lot going on over there on the Talkin VAWLS Network. They have a great time, and Boogie and his team does a great job. We'll be back with Boogie. The final 4 picks in the 2024 Locked On VAWLS Tennessee Player Draft. That is coming up next. I want to tell you guys about my friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. I love sports. I love sports so much. I never want them to stop, but the playoffs are over with in the NHL and NBA right now. Obviously, there's Summer League basketball going on. Olympics are coming up, but there's fewer and fewer games. Sports, they're not sportsing like I want them to. But over at FanDuel, it lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app, dream up bets anytime that I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers, not just new customers, not just existing customers, but every customer over at FanDuel Sportsbook with a booster or bonus daily. It's a daily booster or bonus. It's something for everyone every single day, all summer long. So all you need to do, head on over to FanDuel.com or download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, easy to use, and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. FanDuel, it is America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel, go check it out here today. All right, got a final segment left here on this Friday edition of Locked On VAWLS, the 2024 Locked On VAWLS Tennessee Player Draft. We are now down to the 17th overall pick. Team Boogie, Team Cain each have 2 selections left. So, Boogie, with pick number 17 in this draft, this is your 9th pick overall. Where are you going?
I feel like I got to go. I got to match a pick that you did a little bit earlier, and I'll give it to you. I would have taken Bru McCoy too. I'm going Ricky Gibson.
Nice.
I think you got some good corners. I think we do have some question marks in the secondary at the safety position. How does Starr shake out? You mentioned Thomas and Boo Carter. Does he actually get on the field as a freshman? But I think we got 2 really good corners in Bru McCoy and Ricky Gibson. So give me Ricky Gibson. I'll match your Bru McCoy pick a little bit later, but I think you got the better player overall.
So here's where I am in this draft. Obviously, I've got 2 picks left, and I have to have a quarterback with one of those picks. I'm gonna hold off and take the quarterback in a moment. And even if you want to play keep away from me, I mean, there's 2 that are about on the same playing field right now. So either one, I don't really care. This is my last pick, essentially, is how I'm viewing this. So do I want to go playmaker? Do I want to go best available? Do I need to be a little bit more balanced? I only have 1 defensive back. Do I need another defensive back? I think I'm just going to try to go best available, or maybe someone that can impact the game a little bit more. I've got 2 receivers. Oh, I know where I need to go. It's critical to Tennessee's offense. Can't do it without this position. I can't believe it took me to my 9th overall pick to remember that. Tennessee's got to have a tight end. Got to have a tight end. Ethan Davis. If he can stay healthy, if he can stay on the field, he's got such a high upside. I think everybody loves his athletic ability in this offense. Still learning how to play the tight end position a little bit, the inline stuff, hand in the dirt and all that. But the little that we've seen of Ethan Davis, boy, we have loved what we've seen, and he's going to take it a step up this year. He's going to be, he's going to be the 1A to the 2 tight ends, or really 3 tight ends that might be playing in the Tennessee offense. But Ethan Davis has got the highest upside for sure. So give me tight end Ethan Davis with the 18th overall selection. And that brings you to your final pick, number 19 overall, Boogie. To cap your team here, your 10th pick, which direction are you going?
I'm going to skip right over the tight end position. If I need a tight end, I'm going to slide Bru down and say, hey, just play however you want to play. We're going to play backyard football. We'll figure it out. But I do need a running back. I know I mentioned Boo Carter. I can do some things with him. I can get creative, but I do need a legitimate running back.
See, I thought about taking the guy you're about to take right now, just to have two backs, two options and all that, and leave you with nothing. But
see, I had a backup plan because I am going to take Cam Seldon, but Peyton Lewis, man, I'm telling you, I wish we would have seen him go through spring camp. I wish he would have been healthy because he's a guy that I think obviously it's going to be Dylan Sampson, Cam Seldon, but I think Peyton Lewis could have got in that mix if he had been healthy through spring. But yeah, give me Cam Seldon, and I'll throw him back there to return some kicks. Him and Boo Carter both. Let's go, Cam Seldon. I'm happy. I like my team. A lot of stress, a lot of sleepless nights thinking about this, putting this draft together. So I'm happy. Team Boogie.
All right, you take Cam Seldon there, and to conclude this 2024 Locked On Vols Tennessee Player Draft with the number 20 overall pick, my 10th pick, I do need a quarterback. Everybody needs a quarterback, so give me the guy that I think will have the higher up ceiling of the two options. He might not be the first guy that runs in there when the helmet pops off, but I do believe if, heaven forbid, let's knock on wood, that doesn't happen, something were to happen to Nico, he'd miss extended time, I think this is the guy that would end up getting the bulk of it. Eventually, and that would be freshman quarterback Jake Merklinger. So we look at the two teams here. Who won the draft? Team Boogie, if you're watching on YouTube, Team Boogie's on the left, Team Cain is on the right. Team Boogie, quarterback Nico Iamaleava, left tackle Lance Hurd, defensive end Jordan Ross, wide receiver Bru McCoy, linebacker Aaron Carter, defensive back Boo Carter, defensive tackle Omar Norman Lott, wide receiver Mike Matthews, cornerback Ricky Gibson, running back Cam Seldon. Team Cain, defensive end James Pearce, center Cooper Mays, running back Dylan Sampson, wide receiver Squirrel White, cornerback Jamal McCoy, linebacker Keenan Peely, defensive tackle Bryce Neeson, wide receiver Dante Thornton, tight end Ethan Davis, and quarterback Jake Merklinger. Boogie, why is my team better than yours? Tell me.
You know what excites me more than anything?
What?
This football team has a lot of freaking talent.
Oh, yeah.
You go back and forth pick for pick, and we're taking 10 guys. That kind of limits. You know, it's like, man, I'm going to be stretched thin at the end. No, I have more guys I want to take. So I drafted the better team. I mean, the game starts with the quarterback, Nico versus Jake. I mean, that's a dub. Lance Hurd versus Cooper Mays. I mean, Lance Hurd, higher upside. Jordan Ross, is he a reach? No, he's the next James Pearce. I like it. I like both teams, though. I think this is fun.
I think my team is obviously the better team. I mean, clearly you can just look at it right now and see that. But I do think that my first 4 picks were strong. James Pearce, Cooper Mays, Dylan Sampson, Squirrel White. I mean, you took Nico. I recognize that. Lance Hurd, who we think is all going to be great. Jordan Ross eventually is going to be great. Bru McCoy coming off injury. I think my first 4 picks beat your first 4 picks. But I, not going to lie, your Aaron Carter to Boo Carter to Omar Norman Lott to Mike Matthews, I like that little stretch you went on there from pick 9 to 13 or whatever. That looks pretty good. But it'd be interesting if these two teams, maybe, on the college football 25 game, you can kind of simulate this somehow and see whose team would win. Because I think my team would win. But fun exercise, but more than anything, like you said, a lot of talent on this football team. And they're going to hit the practice field, in just a matter of a couple of days. Wednesday's the first practice, and can't wait for that. Tell me a little bit about the college football 25 game. Here we got about 30 seconds, but tell me how much fun it is. How is it to play with Tennessee on that video game?
Man, it's fun. Like last night I was playing, and it was Florida at Neyland Stadium at night, dark mode, checker. They had checker Neyland rolled out. It's fun, man. I was concerned it was going to be too much like Madden. It's fun. It's very offensive heavy, not a whole lot of defense in it, but it's still, man, it's a fun football game. They're still passionate and fixing it, but it's cool. A lot of fun. I heard you guys on the podcast talking about, I'm not going to buy a PS. Go buy a PS5. Stop being a responsible adult. Go buy a PS5.
I said if I had a PS5, 100% I'd be playing that game all day, every day, but I would probably get in trouble if I just went out and grabbed a PS5.
I bought the PS5. Hey, it's a business move. It's a business. It's business expense for me.
That's literally is for you. Literally.
It's worth it. It's worth it. Go buy a PS5. Go draw up the divorce papers because you're never going to spend time with your wife. And go get EA Sports College Football 25.
Again, we're overboard here. I've got to go. But who are some of the bigger opt-outs again? Lance Hurd's not in it, is he?
No, Hurd's not in it. I don't remember if there's anybody else on Tennessee's roster that's in like the 2 deep or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of that too. I don't know if he opted out or if it's because he was in the portal, because like Jamal Wallace isn't in it, but he was a JUCO transfer. So I don't know. But Lance Hurd, obviously the big one. James Pearce is a freaking cheat code, man. If you use you just whipping the tackle every play. Go get a PS5. Go get EA Sports College Football. Come get beat down on Tuesday nights on the Talkin VAWLS Network. Undefeated.
Undefeated for now, until one of your guys in the chat actually get up there and beat you, and we can't wait for that. So obviously a lot of fun going on over there on Talkin VAWLS, playing video games every Tuesday night. The tons of we hope it's going to be a good weekend for Tennessee recruiting. Certainly a commitment date coming up on Saturday. You guys are going to have it covered there. And this football season, I'll be on your show probably Monday mornings. You'll be on my show probably Friday morning. So looking forward to that. Boogie, as always, man, can't thank you enough, buddy. And here's another football season ahead, all right?
Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, that is Boogie Bentley of the Talkin VAWLS Network. I'm Eric Cain here on Lockdown Vols. Can't thank you enough for being here, you everydayers, making this show what it is. Fun week, fun show here today. Who won the player trap? Is it Team Boogie or is it Team Cain? You let me know in the comments section. And of course, tweet me at _Cain or at Lockdown Vols and all that good stuff. Team Cain over Team Boogie, of course. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll be back Monday morning. This is Lockdown Vols.